Hello students, welcome to Rishraj Classes YouTube channel. In this video, we are going to study one interesting chapter of science, and that is chemical reactions and equations, which is the first chapter of class 10. Chemistry is always one, we can say, the interesting part of science, because chemistry is always full of mystery. Now, this first lesson, that is chemical reactions and equations. Now, when we just look at the title of any lesson, we should get the rough idea that what we are going to study in this lesson. So now when we say chemical reactions, what exactly is chemical reaction? So once we understand what is the meaning of chemical reaction, then we will come to the part of chemical equation. Now to understand chemical reaction, we will have to observe some changes around us. Yes. Now we live in this beautiful world, right? So just observe the changes around us, even at home, outside, in the surrounding, in nature. Just make a note of all the changes what you observe. Now some interesting changes what we see at home. See, we see milk changing to curd. Then the food is cooked. The food which we eat is digested. Then the dhoop or agarbatti, it burns. Then these are some changes. Apart from this, if I tear the paper or break the stick, or if we just heat the water, or if we keep the water in refrigerator, so in these things, what changes exactly we observe? Now here, when the milk changes to curd, it is not possible to get the milk back. If we burn dhoop or essence stick, it is not possible to get back the essence stick again. If we keep the water in the refrigerator, the water gets converted to ice, and from that ice, yes, if we bring that ice to the normal temperature, we can again get back the water. So how can we define it properly? Okay, what are these types of changes? So here, when we heat the water or cool the water, freeze the water, we find change only in the physical properties of the water. While when we change milk to curd, there is change in the chemical properties of the milk. So the name itself tells us that there are two types of changes, that is physical change and chemical change. So how can we differentiate this physical change and chemical change? The name itself tells you that if there is change only in physical properties of the substance, then such changes are physical change. And if there is change in the chemical properties of the substance, then such changes are categorized as chemical changes. Now, is there anything which will help us to find out whether chemical change it has taken place or no? How can we find out that? Is there any hint or is there something which will help us to make out, yes, chemical change has taken place in this case? Yes, there are few changes. Means some changes like this. We find change in the color of the substance. We find sometimes the change in the state of the substance, like solid, liquid, gaseous. We find change in the state of the substance. Sometimes there is evolution of gas, or sometimes there is also the formation of precipitation, or sometimes there is also change in temperature. So here are few changes which will help us to check whether chemical change it has taken place or no. So these are the changes. Yes. Now when chemical change takes place, chemical reactions takes place in that change. So chemical reaction is the reaction which takes place during chemical change. So now in this chapter we are going to learn all about the chemical reaction. So now let us take one simple example. Okay, simple example, they say when we burn magnesium ribbon. Okay, when we burn magnesium in presence of oxygen, we get magnesium oxide. is just one simple example. Chemical reaction, it has taken place. Now, when chemical reactions take place, we have to represent that in the form of one equation. We should know how to write that chemical reaction. Representing chemical reaction systematically is chemical equation. Now, how to write that chemical equation? Our scientists, they tried different methods. The very first thing, describe in your own words. When we burn the magnesium ribbon in presence of oxygen, magnesium oxide is formed. It's quite lengthy, a boring type. We can't waste our precious time in writing all the reactions in the descriptive form. No, we don't want this method. We are not happy with this. Now, they tried for some shortcut method. And the next method was like this. Write the names of the actual substances, elements or compounds which are involved in that reaction. We have to write like this and represent. Now here, magnesium plus oxygen. Okay, let us put the arrow. We get magnesium oxide. Magnesium plus oxygen forms magnesium oxide. Means we have to write in words. For example, formation of water. Hydrogen plus oxygen gives us water. But later, as this chemistry is full of thousands of reactions, even this method is quite time consuming. We don't want this method. We still want the shortest and sweetest method to represent the chemical reaction. How to write this equation? Now here is the shortest and sweetest method to represent the chemical reaction. That is magnesium plus oxygen gives us magnesium oxide. Simple. So what we do here is we use the symbols and formula of the substances involved in this reaction. So this is how we write the chemical equation. This is how we represent one chemical reaction. Now have you observed one thing? I have written something on LHS. Then there is one arrow in between and there is something on RHS. Few substances, they start with the reaction. Means they are entering the reaction, which you will write on the LHS side, that is towards the left hand side. These are called as reactants. These are reactants which are written on the LHS side. If there are more reactants, then we write all the reactants with plus sign in between. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4, all these substances are going to start their journey. They are going to enter one chemical reaction. And on the other side, that is on RHS, what finally we get? What is the final product? So that is written here. So on this RHS side comes products. This arrow, it represents the direction. Yes, reactants starts their journey towards this direction, towards RHS, and we get this product. So this is how we write the chemical equation, that is representation of any chemical reaction. This is the, we can say in simple words, how we define how to represent this chemical equation. Now apart from this, there are few things which are considered while representing one chemical equation. First of all, we make use of symbols and formula. Then arrow, it shows the direction. Then different elements or different substances, they are separated by plus sign in between. Then in few reactions, we also write the state of the substance, means whether they are in solid state, gaseous state or liquid state. So for that we use L for liquid, S for solid and G for gaseous. So here, for example, now suppose magnesium, it is in solid state. Oxygen, this is gas, and here again we get this magnesium oxide. So like this, the state is written just beside the substance, that whether it is in solid state, liquid state or gaseous state. So this is one thing. Now apart from this, if there is any specific condition, required for the reaction, then that is represented on this arrow. Now for example, any specific pressure or any particular temperature or compulsory heating if it is required, then all these conditions are written above or below this arrow. Sometimes in few reactions there is requirement of catalyst, so even that is written on this arrow. So the conditions which are involved in that particular reaction, they are written above or below the arrow. Then if there is formation of gas, then the formation of gas is represented by up arrow. For example, suppose if hydrogen gas, if it is evolved, it is written like this. Or if there is any formation of precipitation, if any particles, if they are specially formed in this reaction, they are represented by down arrow. So gaseous products are represented by up arrow and precipitates are represented by down arrow. So these are some conditions, few things which you have to remember whenever you write the chemical equation. These were just the general things, general but important things regarding chemical equation. Now comes the most important thing which we have to take care while writing any chemical equation. Let's check what it is. Now just observe these reactions. The first one, magnesium plus oxygen, it gives magnesium oxide. Okay. Hydrogen plus oxygen, it forms water. Fine. Now just have a look at the number of atoms of each and every element and the total number of atoms on the reactant side and on the product side. Here we have one atom of magnesium, two atoms of oxygen, altogether 3 atoms are entering the reaction. And on the product side we have one atom of magnesium, one atom of oxygen, and altogether we have 2 atoms. Here they say we cannot forget, we cannot ignore the law of conservation of mass. What our law of conservation of mass says? That mass can neither be created nor be destroyed. So even in any chemical reaction, whatever mass of the substance is entering the reaction, it should be equal to the mass of the substance formed after the reaction. Means here the very first thing, the total number of atoms entering the reaction, it should be equal to the total number of atoms formed after the reactions. Means atoms of the reactants, it should be equal to the atoms of the products. Apart from that, okay, means we can say in addition to this, number of atoms of each element is equal to the number of atom of the same element on the product side. Means here if we have one atom of magnesium is expected here. If here we have 2 atoms of oxygen, 2 atoms of oxygen are expected on the product side. But these 2 reactions are not following this law of conservation of mass. And for that, what we have to do is balance the given chemical equation. Balancing the chemical equation is exclusively one special part of this chemical reaction chapter, and for that I have made one special video in which I have explained only how to balance the chemical equations with different examples. Link of that video is shared in the description box, and watch that video without fail to learn how to balance the chemical equations. It's explained in simple words with different examples. So please do watch that video without fail. Now, after balancing the chemical equation, are all the equations, are all the reactions of the same type? No. As I said, in this world of chemistry, we come across thousands of reactions, and these thousands of reactions are of different types. There are different interesting types of chemical reactions, and for this interesting types of reactions, I will make one more special video in which I will explain all the types of reactions. So very soon I'll be making that video, and to get the update of that interesting video, don't forget to press the subscribe button. So this was just the beginning, introduction of your first chapter, that is chemical reactions and equations. Balancing the equations, link is shared, and types of chemical reactions video will be shared soon. So for that, be in touch. Don't forget to share such videos among your friends. And my dear students, thank you so much for watching this video.